Hey friend, I wanted to answer your question, and this is kind of a hard question because every Christian witch is going to explain this differently. And so, before I can tell you what a Christian witch is, I have to define what a Christian is and what a witch is. And I can only do that what a Christian means to me and what being a witch means to me. So for me, being a Christian is to be a follower of Jesus Christ. It is about loving God and loving neighbor. I do not think being a Christian is about following the Bible. I love the Bible. The Bible is the foundation of my Christian faith. But as a Christian witch, I do not believe the Bible is inerrant or infallible. I think it is an inspired textbook written by mankind under the influence of divinity. And so when we read the Bible, we have to understand that it's we have to read it through the lens that these are men being inspired by God, who are literally writing down what they feel. So they don't always get the message right. Again, not all witches would agree with, well, Christians would agree with me, but I love the Bible. So you won't read about being a Christian witch in the Bible. Some translations do use the term witch in their translation as a negative thing. A lot of time this is mistranslation. Remember that the term witch comes from Anglo-Saxon word and back to the Nordic, and the Bible was written in Hebrew and Greek. So when they translated in English, they chose the witch to represent that Hebrew and Greek word, and they often meant something different because they didn't understand what a witch was. So what is a witch to me? A witch, if we look at where the term witch comes from, it literally means to see, divide, divine. It's basically a seer or a diviner in the oldest word for the word witch. Some people will say it means wise one. There was less proof of that. Some people think it means to bend and shape energy. There's a little bit of proof of that. The way I see it is, I see it, for me to be a witch is to see and experience the sacred in all things, in all people. So I experience the sacred through the earth, through divinity. I also associate the term witch with the divine feminine. So this is understanding that God is not just a masculine old man in the sky. God embodies both male and female energies, and we're all created in that image. And so for me, the feminine power of being a Christian is the Holy Spirit, because we can look and see both the Greek and the Hebrew words for spirit often have a female gender, and we often see throughout the Bible God is often does have both masculine and feminine qualities. So for me as a witch, because witches have often been associated with the sacred feminine, that's important to me as well. Witches are also associated with magic. Of course, the first people to see Jesus were the Magi, the wise ones, the wise men, which were astrologers, magicians, priests of non-Christian, non-Jewish priests, who acknowledge Jesus. So for me, magic is simply the way of is simply using God's grace and favor and energy to help us work His will on earth. So for me, magic is also a way of tapping into the sacred, to making my lives better and the lives of those around me better. So it's a really broad definition. So for me to be a Christian, which is to be someone who is a disciple of Jesus Christ, I'm trying to follow the teachings of Jesus as found in the four Gospels, because my spirituality is centered on the four Gospels found in the Holy Bible. I love all the Bible, but for me, the words of Jesus in red are the most important words for me as a Christian. And I'm trying to live out those teachings. And I'm also trying to live an earth-based spiritual path. I'm connecting with the sun, the moon, the stars. God created these things. I don't worship them, but I understand that God is present in all of them, and that I work with Him to attune with God and my fellow being. It's about taking control of my life. I am my own priest. I am my own prophet. I don't need someone to tell me how to connect with Jesus Christ and our loving heavenly parent. It's about taking control of my own spirituality. I use tangible objects such as herbs and candles to help me connect with divinity, but they're not necessary. They were just a way of shifting my consciousness from moving from the mundane to the spiritual. There's a verse for the Bible that says, to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life eternal. And I like to think of being a witch as a way of becoming spiritually minded, but allowing our spirit to understand that all things in all the universe is spirit. Again, there are thousands upon thousands of Christian witches out there. We all have our own opinions and our own thoughts. I got involved in the Christian witch movement in about 1998. So I've been doing it for a long time. There are lots of other people. Magical Christians have been around since the very beginning of Christianity throughout the Middle Ages. They didn't always call themselves witches, um, but there has been magical people throughout time who have been Christian, who have used their magic to better their lives and those around them for healing and prosperity and for love. I began to see people in probably the 90s, early 90s, begin to use the term Christian witch. I'm sure there were people before that. I mean, certainly the practice is not new. Some people use other terms like Christo-Pagan or Christian Wiccan or Christian mystic. There's lots of different terms and different, but we're all basically Christians who are trying to love Jesus, love God, love our neighbor, and better our lives and those around us, and also to provide a sense of self and identity. I hope that makes sense. Many blessings, my friend.